Alright guys, here is the runes that you should be taking on Urgot. So this is not like last season. There's not a lot of choices here. Grasp is no longer viable, Spellbook is no longer viable, PTA is don't do PTA. Do yourself a favor and don't do PTA. So we're looking here. This second tree is never going to change. We're always going to want Taste of Blood, and we're always going to want Rab Hunter. Rab Hunter goes off every piece of Urgot's kit. It's super, super good. On a normal game with Ravenous Hunter, you're looking at like maybe 3,000 or 4,000 points of healing. Uh, and this is really good. When you weave out of a fight and you maybe take the Raptors or you go mid and you shoot some minions, you're getting a couple of extra 100 HP here and there. Those crucial moments in a fight where if you got 10 extra HP, you live. Ravenous Hunter is definitely the way to do it. Over here on this left tree, the only thing that really has any thoughts on changing would be tenacity. Coup de Grace is no longer viable since they took the AD away from it. Last Stand is just vehemently the best one. I mean, I would have taken it before, but now it's not. It's not a debate. Triumph. I mean, obviously Triumph. I'm not really going to go on an explanation about that just because overheal doesn't make any sense on a champion with no innate healing, and Presence of Mind is incredibly greedy. Maybe if you're in norms. So on another note, Legend of Alacrity will never be used on Urgot since his W gives him 3 attack speed, and building any attack speed whatsoever on this champion is essentially trolling your team. Tenacity and Bloodline are the main attractors of this, and Tenacity will almost always be picked since you're always in the front line. You're always going to be CC'd, so Tenacity is kind of a no-brainer. If they have no CC whatsoever, Bloodline is fine. I haven't seen it be like particularly crazy, just because Urgot has so much ability damage. But it's I mean, the lifesteal from Bloodline is nothing to scoff at. So I mean, if you can pick it and there's no real CC on the enemy team, go ahead. Down here, these 3 runes are the only time you're really gonna have to be scratching your head on what to run on Urgot. And my rule of thumb is if I'm in an unwinnable lane, I take double resistances. Double MR for Akali, double AD for Renekton, stuff like that. Just I can tell you when you're gonna need to take double resistances, but honestly, we all need to make those mistakes before we can fully rationalize it. Something that you don't have to make the mistake for that I can tell you about is if the enemy. So like, let's pretend we're against an Annie top lane, right? And the rest of their team has, let's say, Kha'Zix jungle, Talon mid, Senna ADC, and Pike support, right? That's a ton of lethality all over their team. There's a ton of armor, but we're into Annie, right? So even though there's so much AD on the enemy team, into Annie, we might even have to build like Tabbies. We might have to just keep ourselves alive because she's such an oppressive laner. So we might have to build MR. But before we even get to building anything, before we even know if we're ahead or behind in the lane, go ahead and take double MR because you're not going to build any in your kit. If you're feeling really, really spicy, you might consider it a Hex Drinker or Tenacity Boots. But net against a full lethality team, you want to build full armor because it's not efficient, right? But the armor items you're buying, the armor is a secondary consequence. You know what I mean? Like your starting items are much more important than the armor it gives itself. So it's okay to go down 12 armor and have 16 MR in the lane so you don't die. You can get more minions, getting more gold, and you can just buy back that 12 armor. I mean, it's really not that much gold you're losing out. And considering you're not going to be buying MR, it's very, very important that Annie doesn't get fed off you and just start decimating your team. Usually though, for general situations, double AD is really good. Every single part of Urgot scales off AD, so it's a no-brainer that AD is good on him. Starting W, shoving the lane as hard as you can. Your W is always going to do 50 damage level 1 to minions, so AD or no AD, you're still going to be able to shove it. It is just my preference that I like running double adaptive most of the time. But if the lane gets tough, remember that your champion is made for mid and late game and not early game, and it is okay to run double resistances. That'll be it for the Urgot runes. I think it's all pretty self explanatory. And if you have any questions, of course, you can always comment. Thank you.